Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Very irresponsible parenting, really, but a great premise for both a movie and a game. So Obsidian took a swing at making a game out of that, and I'm here to report Grounded is a video game. No, seriously, it's a hell of a video game, especially if you can grab a couple of pals to talk shit and bounce off their screams as a giant spider suddenly turns your way, or when you see a Blackhawk's huge HP bar. Get out of the gutter, I'm talking about the Blackhawks and not the Black Cocks. I'm not really helping it, am I? Anyway, at first, it might seem like your standard fare survival game, but this game is deep. I'm now many hours, and I just got into upgrade paths for the weapons. It turns out you can upgrade your weapons along different paths, like fresh, salty, or spicy. These are similar to your usual elemental affinity, having fresh or mint damage be effective against fire creatures, for example. But it adds an extra layer to the cake, when each creature can be weak to a weapon type, for example stabbing damage, and then on top of that they can be weak or resistant to an element like fresh or salty. Not gonna lie, the fiction of smelting a weapon with a mint candy for fresh damage is amazing to me. Just such a cool concept that adds a ton to what you can do with the weapons. And this game can be tough, especially when playing with others. The bug's HP go up significantly and you really need good strats to tackle some of them. We're playing it in the mild difficulty and often getting our asses kicked. At least sometimes. I do find that mild is a great difficulty though, since it lowers the amount of managing your hunger and thirst meters, and those are the bane of my existence in survival games. I don't know about you, but it's weird to me that I need to eat like 6 times in a day, when in real life I'm good with 2 or 3. But I digress. The whole game takes place in a yard, and it has like different biomes, each with its own threats and creatures, so you will quickly learn that you may not be ready for a particular biome when, for example, every bug burns you with their attacks or something like that. Or even when the sun is too hot and you can't be out of the shade for a long time. These environmental elements are used in a clever way here. Now let's talk about the water level. And yes, this game has a water level in scare quotes. One of the labs you gotta explore for the main story is underwater, and you are pestered by an oxygen meter in addition to the awkward swimming. As if that were not enough of an annoyance, you also get attacked by water spiders. I'm not a biology guy, but I'm pretty sure that ain't a thing. Water spiders. But if you think that's inconvenient, wait until you get eaten by the giant. I have to say though that the underwater lab was awesome, and when you unlock your way back and it's all connected, it's a great feeling. We were particularly stuck finding the way in on this one, and I have to say it was so satisfying when we finally did. Most games in this regard feel rather cheap. Like when you actually find the right way, you just feel dumb. But this time it was so rewarding to figure out, and in the end I was physically nodding my head in approval. You guys know me, I'm a builder. I absolutely love getting lost in building a base or some cool contraption that captured my interest. That said, I think the building on this one is quite basic, and I didn't find myself as captivated by the structures themselves. You can, of course, unlock more buildables, and that starts to add more interesting things you can do, but personally I wasn't as inspired by it as in some other games like No Man's Sky, for example. The big difference is that you don't have prefabs like a cool glass corridor or some awesome sci-fi dome. Instead, you're building everything with wood planks, obviously. You can still make some cool looking structures, and they fit the fiction super well though. They also have buoyant surfaces so you can build on water, for example, or zip lines to connect down high places. But all of that wouldn't work if the enemies didn't feel threatening. And they absolutely nailed the sense of perspective with being tiny. The sound creatures make can be haunting, and you know you fucked up when you hear something real loud behind a brush. Even when you start to become a threat yourself with better weapons, it's still scary to fight off some of these huge bugs. Talking about the sense of perspective, when you're playing with friends and you see your pals carry little wood planks like an ant would, or being chased by a random spider, that's when the fiction really works for me. In a weird way, it takes me back to Toy Story, where being tiny is super fun and interesting. You see stuff in a wildly different way. A kid's sand pit is now a whole new biome. A normal picnic table is a whole new area to explore. You get the idea. On the technical side, this is the best multiplayer system I've seen for a game of this type. A player can host a shared session, and that save is cloud stored, so that when another player goes on to host it, it is up to date and they can continue working on things while others are offline. You no longer need the main host to always be online like in many other games. You also don't need dedicated servers like in Minecraft to keep your world running at all times. It just works, actually. I'm the first one to dunk on early access games that never come out for a full release, looking at you, Satisfactory. Or that when they do, they have lost all traction and nobody cares anymore. But this to me is a case of a successful early game title that clearly improved a lot of systems and quality of life based on the feedback. And if you never jumped into this for whatever reason, I highly recommend you do. And if you want to see more of my content, I stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Links for that down below. And with that, I bid you farewell. Until next time.